Yo, 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 we are live.
Right?
Welcome to DevKami
Uh,
number 212. Oh, it's a palindrome. Nice. So I'm Chiliang. I'm swimming. What the hell am I thinking?
I'm civic.
Yeah. So we have a few things happening today. Uh, First one is Hari Raya is Saturday,
Officially
not
on
Friday.
Saturday.
So okay, so let's start a bit longer. So yesterday the Prime Minister announced that Friday we get an extra day holiday either way because uh, so So
Cannot
which
make
day is
sure
the
which
extra
day is
holiday?
the yeah.
Yeah, correct. So which day is considered as the extra holiday? That is a bureaucratic. This a bureaucratic homework, so to say, right? So it's a king. So it's just that somebody decided that we can make a decision. Let's have another day holiday. So I don't mind because I actually have projects to do, but it's a bit annoying in a way that last minute shit and stuff. So yeah lah. So either way, you got holiday, got more day to hack, enjoy yourself along the way, right? I think so. So with that said, let's start with our events. We have nothing happening. I'm betting. I'm betting that. I am betting that we have Hari Raya and that's it. Yeah, we have Hari Raya and that's it. Then next week will be Thursday, the week before I go Korea, which means I have 1 week that I won't be online. That will be back the one after that, which will be an interesting experience. Whatever happened,
All the best to
I
your
might,
trip.
yes, I might hate it, but let's not go there. No, I would like the trip, but not the family thing. But let's see. So let's start with our news. PDF tools. So we have various PDF tools, but I'm going to start with multiple things. So these are list of PDF tools. PDF still exists, believe it or not. I still have to sign those shits. Uh, and it's a very cool way to read document. But reading have no problem, but signing it is annoying as hell. So yeah lah, you got tools on Linux that is popular and
What do you
XPDF.
mean by signing it? Putting a signature in or digital signing?
Just putting a signature, right? Putting a signature without scanning it. So that's one. Not an actual. Thankfully, I don't have to deal with the digital signature yet, but that is another pain that we have to deal with in the future. Hopefully not soon, but yeah. So yeah, this is a set of PDF tools that you can use lah to make your life easy. When I was Sina, there's always talk about scraping PDF. We decided, fuck this shit. We don't deal with that anymore. So nowadays, you still have a lot of libraries that you can use. So this
Yeah,
thing
but
is
these days with I think these few years the things change a bit. It's in what the
correct,
machine vision, machine learning stuff are get really
correct,
really good at things
correct.
and
So
at
one
contextual mapping.
precisely. So things only get better, which is awesome. So that's it. Click it out. Next one. Do you know local stack?
Or what is that?
So I have a lot of beef
I'm a bit
in
disconnected from the world
cloud stuff,
these
right?
days.
Okay, cool. Now, I have a lot of beef with cloud-based technology. One of those is the way. Okay, so let's start with Amazon because that's what I'm familiar with intimately. One, uh, they seriously recommend you to use their cloud-based services. All right, meaning use their RDS, use their online file system, use lambdas. One of the claims is that it's reliable, it's all that, except when you write code, you will need to simulate it. So if you do local-based development, things are easier because even on Windows have some form of compatibility layer to Unixes and all that, or even run a virtual machine. But it's easy. It's seriously easy if you do traditional web application. It's just file system, it's just socket, it's just network, and just database that you can install locally. On uh, if you use specific technology on the cloud, testing it will be a nightmare. in theory, what you can do is you can do in theory you can use mock. This is what I recommend my junior engineer to do nowadays, so that you can. What you do is if you already tested a function abstraction layer properly, then return a known format. So what you can do is you can mock it and return the right thing for you to do this. But that's the idea. But planning mock is actually another work on its own. So as a result, it's not as convenient as just having a database or a computer to test stuff. So local stack solve this problem because to test whether something works for, let's say, DynamoDB without getting access to DynamoDB is actually very horrible. AWS would, in their own interest, prefer that you actually subscribe to the service and use their database for testing. Okay. And another beef that I have is that they have a thing called the what they call well architected framework. And one of the things they recommend is to build a test environment, you spin up more environment on their service. Which is true, it would definitely be isolated, but really each of those service costs money. It's annoying. Okay. It's annoying. So local stack, why is it relevant to this? Local stack is actually a service for you to actually run a cloud service locally. You will not get the same scale as AWS, but it's very useful for testing, right? So you can emulate the cloud and all that. You can emulate 60 services, so you can emulate S3 locally. You can emulate Q services like SQSs and all that. Here's the caveat: not everything is free. Okay. They got advanced API, so you pay for it and all that. So, for example, amplify is one of those things. Text configuration. So the whole thing is because the cloud services, in their own interest, make things lock within themselves. And the caveat is a lot of things is hard to test locally, unlike old system, right? It's precisely like servers once again. So yeah, this is a tool that we definitely use, but uh, not everything is free. Some the basic core function would be free, but advanced stuff would be definitely very expensive. And why I raise it because they have 2.0 release already, and what they promise is it works well with Docker now. Here, improve local stack tooling for development, tutorials and documentation. So previously, is those things are actually services, code that you install. So you install it on your Docker to run. So one of the things they promise is able to use Docker, as in they'll spin out Docker and stuff lah. So yes, anything you want to add? If not, I'm going to move on. No, it's amazing that it's actually amazing. Actually, one thing I want really annoyed with some of the online, no, some local conference. So some of the leads, engineers, and all that actually suggest that just spin up more environment for each engineers so that they have their own environment on the cloud. Fine, if you have the money to pay, that's I have no beef with you, but I just think it's really crazy that you are recommending this, and why make it? Why? Okay, why? So yeah lah, that's my little issue with. That's my beef with the cloud, and why I have some beef with local stack, but sometimes you just can't avoid it. Or maybe all you need to do is just to write mock lah. Okay, anything to add? If
A
not,
mock
we go.
doesn't simulate the behavior.
Correct. So mock. So what happened then is you have to write some code to test it live to know that
Mm.
that function works. Then you just mock the function. It's really stupid. It's really stupid, but it is. This is why I do not have
Well,
cloud.
there's another negative on this post. No, that one,
You mean this one?
the Stack Overflow one. Yeah, Meta.
Yeah, yep. So the thing is, they're going to. I'm going to summarize live, but I think what happened is,
What with
they're
the
going to focus.
backlash?
Yep, they're going to make AI and focus on of a community. I think it's a bit silly because this is a community of people, right? So you replace them with machine. I think it's a bit silly, lah, in my opinion. So yeah, lah. Uh, so I have problem with AI for a very different reason. But it's both side of the story. I tend toward AI system must be assist human, not replace them. But there will be
I have
business
problem in
people.
calling them AI
Yeah, let's call it large language model or whatever system, right? Let's call it that, right? So some of this system is over.
because if
I'm
we
gonna say
stop treating it as intelligence and based on what it does is that is they it, it just means that there are certain there are certain what we call holes and there are nooks
correct.
and crannies that we miss out that might have very bad consequences if we treat it like
Correct.
a source of truth.
So for this one is putting AI as the core of the product that is ultimately revolve around people. I think it's a bit silly. Okay, I think it's really a bit silly, but it's just me because there'll be multiple people that could come to me that it's a future and all that. I would argue it's cult, but doesn't mean it's not useful.
It's better
Uh,
blockchain though.
yeah, this is useful in a way that things that is actually very hard to do previously is easier. So, for example, with a large language model, you can provide examples, more example, and they generally have good enough solution, right? So a good one is let me open a tab privately, then I'm gonna share the link. Toki Pona on GPT. Check.
Okay, is I didn't really test it. Does it speak to people now?
Uh, so what people do is, actually, there's new one this year. Interesting, interesting. It is known. So what you do is, construct a language. This Tokipuna or it is, this create their own language. Okay, not this one. Last year I found one where they actually use the old GPT-3 and use it to teach Tokipona by giving them example, and they managed to match it up very pretty well. And I mean it really match. All right, they're not they're not knowing the language. It's because here's what I suspect. I could be wrong because I do not know this enough. We have this human have the ability to learn language in a way that because we know the pattern when it's young. So here's a quick example. There's this kid called Jack Genie, a very tragic case, abandoned since their baby, not taught in language, mentally unable to develop until a certain age, rescued when they are adult. Only then they have she have exposure to human. It's a very tragic case, but uh, Genie the game is called Feral Child. Feral Child. So this is relevant because in the case of Feral Child, if you do not teach language early on, they will not able to learn another language. So you need to learn a language to learn a language. Now, why this is relevant? I suspect that a language model works because they learn a language. Uh, so let me look for language ability. Do they have one? Okay, language acquisition. It's part of language acquisition theory. So here, so it's called critical period. So what happened is one up to a time you need to learn a language so that you were able to learn a language. Okay, human are like that. Here's what I suspect really happening. they are able to learn something because they have a pattern. They know how to find a pattern. Humans know the pattern, therefore they know how to learn language. You can teach them Tokipuna, and the reason why Tokipuna works is because Tokipuna had a very small vocabulary.
Mm.
Uh, as a result, you can
Uh,
easily
fi-
teach them the
yeah,
patterns, the
it's a
results.
phonetically simple.
Yeah. So it's intentionally simple, etc. So they can learn it. Tokipoda can be taught on ChatGPT, right? Because they can match language. So this is why. So yeah lah. So either way, language model can do what they do because they are good at languages. They know how to match languages, and they know how to generate output. Remember last week when I said it's the traitorous aid, and they just accept it? Yeah, same reason. Because syntactically it makes sense. Language model have this little problem. What I have as a problem is that we have enough people in the business that would think that it's okay to use this to replace people simply because of perceived intelligence. Uh, and I can't agree with that for various reasons, but
If it's a
that's another
mechanically
side.
is if it's mechanically similar, I think that is fine. Just like machine
Yes,
replacing
correct, correct.
well people,
But
but
what
it's
really happened is that is the way business run. That I cannot agree with, right? So I have the whole philosophy, but let's not go there anymore. So either way, it's a backlash, and it's interesting how two side of people goes into flame war. But I'm going to move on. This one I want to debate. Strong opinion loosely held might be the worst idea in tech. So essentially, strongly held opinion loosely held means we have strong opinion on everything, but we can easily change it. In theory, true. In practice, no. In my opinion. So this guy, this Glowforge. Glowforge is actually, I think it's 3D printing company. Was it something else? Yeah, it's a laser printer. It's a laser. It's engraver. Yeah, this is the one. So this the founder recently the founder actually have beef with a lot of the online community for reason that I don't understand. But there is something I do agree with, and actually have faces the consequence before, uh, and it's such often. So we have a lot of community will say that X is the way to do things. Everything else is stupid, and and we would think that with data that will change opinion. Not true. They will find opinion to uh, strengthen uh, their opinion. There's what you call it. There's a phenomenon for it which I forget the name. Moon landing conspiracy psychology. It's called uh, ah, So this is actually very popular among the skeptic community. You do not go against certain people with more evidence. You will not find it. You only strengthen their resolve. So more evidence does not. More evidence. Here's the one. More evidence uh, does not. More evidence does not proof of fact. Something like that. No, more evidence does not change mind. Does not change mind. Not change mind. Yeah, there's a thing. It's called belief perseverance here. Belief perseverance, confirmation bias. This is the one. So when you have too strong an opinion, you tend to find evidence to confirm your opinion versus actually changing your mind. That's not true, and that's
and
actually
often is that
problematic.
the belief is strengthened by the tribalism where they
Correct.
felt there's a sense of belonging. So especially when
Correct.
changing opinion means that it cannot betray his tribe.
Correct. So so yeah, it's called perseverance of belief. Yeah, there's another term I forget. So either way, this is why I don't agree with. I agree with this thing article in a way, but it's not. It's ideally it's never happened. People rarely change their mind. Look at the whole generation of front-end only developers and their opinion on backend. It's more common in our community than you think, actually. So that happened. It just complaining,
Well, if you don't have backend,
uh,
nothing runs the front end.
and more like you don't have to learn backend because people will build stuff for you anyway. That's the whole story. I'm gonna move on quickly. Duck Assist is actually DuckDuckGo tool using AI. I do not know whether it's available now, but this is a chat system. Uh, but it does not available for private search now. So what does it mean? It means that, let me try it. DuckDuckGo.com. What the hell? So do they have that now? No, they don't. Give me something. Is there assist? La la
Should
la.
you just
Let me
type,
assist. Try the assist.
or can you just type? I don't know.
Okay, let me find the URL. Is there a URL? So either way, even the DuckDuckGo is going through the chat GPT, chat chat system route for things. Actually, it's between this. Let me see. What is available in Seoul? What is the thing I should do in Seoul, Korea? Let's see whether it works. I don't think it. Okay, I don't think it's available for me now. I wonder. So either way, DuckDuckGo, a privacy heavy search engine, uh, now provide a chat system. So maybe I will find a way to open up and let's see how it goes. So I'm gonna move on. This one. So if you can see on the list, you realize that there's a lot of AI stuff. There's a whole reason for it. I will tell you later, but let's start. ChatGPT, mini ChatGPT 4D is actually an open source version of the chat system. Uh, GPT-4 is currently private on OpenAI. The source code is not available. It's not as open. So as a result, there's researcher that takes the paper and actually implement it. Interestingly, there's a lot of Chinese. That's fine. So yeah, is this a demo? It's a demo. Does it work? I don't know. Let me let's start chat. Say something. Let me find something that's cool. Oh, I have one. 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 Let me find my animal photo. Photos 2013 03 23. Cool. Okay, upload image here. Upload and start chat. So okay, another thing I want to show here here is one of the hottest thing. One of the interesting you should really try for this long holiday is actually try to build an AI system uh, on Hugging Face. Hugging Face actually, I tell you by the time, one of the things they do is that you can actually build a chat system of any kind for free. So for example, this is free, right? Everything else is the endpoint that's expensive and they make money through here. But with this, you can build your own application. So let me run a bit. So either way, miniature GPT-4 is actually a they release a model and they actually make a smaller version that you can run. And this actually uh, claim to do what OpenAI had does lah. So for example, design a bug and show the image can write us in the advertisement. So they can take image and understand image and produce code, write article, create recipe, etc. Is the thing that GPT-4 claimed to able to do, and there's an open source version for it. So yeah, I find this interesting, and let's see whether my demo is up. It's not. Let's move on. Let's move on, and we come back with
It's
once it's
normal.
to load.
You have to
Yeah,
pray to the demo god.
yeah. I'm not the creator, so I don't care. So this is the next one. This one I'm unable to run this. This is interesting because this is a model that you can run on web GPU. So it is entirely local. Okay, this is entirely local. Han actually tried it. It works apparently. So you need very new version. You need pre-release version of Chrome because do you know what browser have web GPU capability?
Most
Support.
of them, Chrome is the one that should have it.
Yep. Can I use web GPU? Chrome have it. Edge have it definitely. Then Firefox. Oh, okay. The main one have it. Not supported by default, but can be enabled. Chrome have it by default. Okay. Can be okay. Most of it can be enabled. So there's a waiting. So this is interesting because they build the model and you can run it on your browser. So you do not you only need to download the model so you can do your stuff. Interesting because it means more thing can run an AI system, a text system, advanced text system, etc. So yeah, so they don't have one company to do things, and that's cool. So this one they done on JS, JavaScript as a client, but the trading of course in Python. Then yeah, very interesting stuff. I want to try this. I'm probably gonna make a friend out of it. Ha ha ha. I gave up on this one. So anything else? If not, I move on.
Mm.
Let's move on. Let's move on. This one. So Sony actually is a big. Sony is actually a big investor of Raspberry Pi. Do you know that? So, for example, Raspberry
Just
Pi get a lot of support.
they,
Get a lot of
from
support
what
from the
I
customer.
read, is that the one that interests them is the codec part. They want to make
Yeah,
sure
correct,
Raspberry.
correct. So now Raspberry Pi actually get more from Sony, and one of the things they get is actually the AI chip. It's called the AI accelerators. It's actual term called it's an actual term that people use. So this is an accelerator for you to do inference for neural network. So the reason you have that is because you will not plug in your GPU into edge devices. Edge devices have very small places, so you have dedicated processor for it. In a way, it's very similar to a GPU, except it's only
Mm.
optimized for neural network. So people use this kind of thing for camera. Uh, they're actually able to use this for sound processing, etc. So what Sony is doing with this is not just to give money to Raspberry Pi. So when Raspberry come, the next what on the future version of Raspberry Pi, for example, they come with this processor, and now they actually have a head start for user to actually learn about their product and stick to it, use it, and maybe because people now want it, they can use it somewhere else.
Mm.
So yeah, it's not free free, but also interesting because more future interesting future for us. Lor. I'm going this one. Uh, okay. Do you know? So last week, Tristan is asking, right? He's asking, why don't people run neural network like BitTorrent? So I
No, I
don't have the
remember it was
answer.
like
But
or like distributed computing back then.
correct. Then it's just that I do not know. Probably what happened. Actually, in practice, people actually run their training on multiple GPU. It's just that though it's not like a BitTorrent style thing. I do not know why it can't. But so this guy, this one that actually built something precisely as Tristan does. You still need a GPU. Uh, you still need a GPU for it, but it's distributed across multiple machine lah. So in a way, it's like blockchain. Even though I hate this word, uh, but it also means that it's possible to run large language model uh, with multiple peer-to-peer machines, distribute the compute across multiple devices, and I think that's very cool. So how they do is they actually it's just a WebSocket, and I do not know how they distribute the work. Honestly, I do not know how they distribute the work, but uh, so this exists. Yeah, that's how it goes. But it actually la la la. What do they have? Yeah. So for generations of one side, you need one of the following. Yeah, it's still a beefy machine. So but it is what it is lah. So anything to add? If not, I'm gonna move on. One blooms over Petals network. How does Petals network work? Collaborative, it's load part of the model, then team up people running the network. Single batch of one per step, up to 10, then offloading. No. You should try this. I should try add this more. So anything to add? If not, I'm gonna move on. We have a lot of this actually. Quickly say this. Da. Next one. Why Llama is a big deal? Because open source and all that. And now, okay, nothing to add. I'm going to move on. So the reason is we already said this multiple times. Large language model should be
I've seen Lama Han ran it. I've seen his demo. So.
yeah. So you know what I want to do? I want to build a bartender with this and can call it Lama tak jumpa. It's a Malay pun, right? It's horrible. I will shut up. Okay, this one back to Earth. The new SQL 2023 feature is out.
I don't think we are. I think most of us are still using the 90s SQL.
Correct.
Like,
correct.
Did you ever use
But
having something like that?
no, because we don't have very special use. Okay.
Actually, some of the newer syntax they help sort of they can help us in writing less.
Correct. In fact, JSON is one of those newer things that that exists.
Not really on JSON part, but on their.
Yeah, correct. So now they have group table. So they have very cool thing in SQL that we don't get to use because we don't have to, because it's a niche kind of knowledge. So for example, materialized view is probably something from the early 2000s, right? It's still something that you don't heard of often enough among. Okay, at least among.
I like this one. Unique now treatment is often it hits.
Correct.
I very seldom I need to handle this, but it hits especially beginners once in a while.
Correct. So group by in group table. So order by in group table. So select all product. Oh, you can group by this kind of thing. So SQL still happening. And they have some cool stuff, but it's just that you don't have to use all the advanced stuff. And in fact, things like materialized view is also very rare. This is the most advanced one I used recently. So I don't blame them, and even I don't use it that much. Just that I find it interesting that this still happen, and I wonder why actually.
And this is the language specification. So you still have to read your database implementation of these versions.
Correct. Because these things are just standards. You just tell them that this should be implemented if you choose to.
Mm.
Okay, if you choose to
And
implement this, this is
and
how you,
unlike
this is the
yeah,
process.
and like ECMAScript or JavaScript in browser is that the implementation are very are vastly different across database
Correct,
systems.
correct. If you look at PostgreSQL source code, you will see like a whole quotation and paper and all that because of standard. The standard is crazy. So, oh, we have this now. Allow hexadecimal similar to programming languages. Now, this is useful. Why I do not know. This is useful. Anytime this is useful, I can use that. Arbitrary non-null value for the input set.
For
Let
byte
any
as
value.
well. So like UID type, those things might be useful.
Correct.
That you can
Then you
just
have
type them in easily.
correct. Then you can have enhanced JSON type. JSON type, I'm going to say this. JSON on PostgreSQL is just painful to use. It's cool, but it's very painful to use.
It's not painful to
It's not as
use.
I
I would
want to
say it's
query it. I don't know how to query it. I
it's
don't know how to
very easy
query
to
it.
use.
Really, I will look at the documentation more again. So now they
You
have
just arrow by
easier
default.
accessor.
You know, by default it handles the now for you. Is that if you cannot find, let's say you cannot find the grandchildren, if you cannot find it, it's
Yeah.
just now.
Yes, but I think I know why as well because uh, I'm trying to fit one of our products JSON data into it. As it turns out that I don't know how to query it based on whatever that is available. I strongly suspect it could be the JSON format are not designed to be queryable. I don't know.
JSON,
Okay, I don't know.
or last time what we learned back then in NoSQL, we went through
Yeah.
a very short periods of NoSQL,
Yes.
um, what you call it, mass exodus to NoSQL from this
Correct.
but we noticed that even on NoSQL, like JSON
Yep.
or these
Mm-hmm.
markups, is that it still it sort of still requires a structure to be usable.
Correct. Correct.
It's just that we don't
For
have to
this one,
commit
uh-huh.
ourselves to the schema.
Correct. Correct. So yes, precisely. Now this one is useful in a way that I can use that when I was in Sina project instead of using Node.js. So because we build relationship, this is actually very useful, y'all. I should share this out. I should share this out to Kyriel after this. So yeah, actually very interesting stuff. I think it will actually help you, but often a lot of people also use ORM instead, and I understand that. So it's okay, don't get it, but also, some of this is actually very cool to
I
see.
use ORM to
So
to
uh-huh,
map to object, but query I still use raw SQL. But I use ORM
right,
to map them into objects so it can be easily operated on in the code.
correct. Yeah. So yep. So I'm going to move on to this one. We talk a lot of stuff, but so yeah. So okay, so Llama Hub is actually is there a documentation for this? Uh, so remember that I said that Open API is very useful only if you generate text and all that. Using text is actually a bit painful. So this is actually a set of loaders that you can use uh, to put inside your language model. So with Llama Index, you take this transcription and load it into your language model to do stuff because your language model is only useful when it interact with the real world. So for example, it only makes sense if you use this to generate text documentation from your database, right? So Llama Index is actually a Llama Hub is actually showing how you, I believe, at least connect a data source to your local large language model so that it can do stuff. What I do not know is how does this answer a language model. It's something that I need to look at. But this is very cool because this makes
There's a
language
question. What
model
is
to be very
this?
useful. Huh?
There's the
What?
questions from the audience.
What is this? This is okay. So let's start with language model. Let's start with language model. Language model only generate text. That's about it. It's not really that useful. It's useful in most of the case if things are inside the language model itself. But there's a lot of stuff that's not in the language model itself. For a very simple one is database for your product. Okay, database for your product, instruction for your product, internal procedures for your code, etc. So for this to be useful, you need connectors and you need ways to link it together, which is why things like LangChain and all that exist. Okay, so that you can actually chain together to produce an index. So what Llama does is they actually what Llama Hub AI shows. What I believe this is, it shows you a set of connector to your databases, documents, etc. So that you can use the data from your things to build to link to the language model for you to build a language to build a application with it, document generator, chat system, and all that. You need this kind of thing to talk to your to generate to build application really. Otherwise, we'll just rely on whatever that is trained in the network, which is not useful, but it can do more, right? So yeah, so this is what it is: a way for you to talk. Well, for you to train an AI system, I hate this word. To train, to link your documents into a language model to do stuff. What the stuff is, I do not know. A lot of stuff lah. So I'm going to move. Anything to add before I go on?
Mhm.
Also, this one, understand fsync. Fsync is actually this is actually a way to synchronize your database, right? So, so this actually show you how fsync behavior work because a lot of system relies on that, and there's always this performance issue, security issue out of this. So yeah. So I'm going to move on because we talked too much on other people's stuff already. I'm going to quickly go through, just cherry pick some. Xylene, we're not going to talk about it. This one. Oh yeah, back to the question. Back to the question. What is Llama Hub? This is what you call it. There's a term for that. It's called React pattern. Okay, React pattern. So this is so so here's an example. They use a language model to generate something. Then I tell them the action. Get from Wikipedia, England. So they can. It's a pattern for you to from chat model take something out, feed it back to the language. Da, da, da. So this is how you make your language model useful. Language model based system useful. So for example, query, text this, thought, require calculation, then action do something. So, and this is a sample implementation for it. Uh, so I do not know for sure how it goes, but this is how you make your system useful. So this is a pattern for that lah in Python. So next one. Uh, so remember that I complained that language model do not have reasoning. So they actually this research group actually take the language GPT and add reasoning on it. So they understand text, they understand consistency, and then they can answer them. There's a question like how many cookies there is and all that. So yeah, it's something on top of the language model to do stuff. So visual programming for computer. So it's getting there, and maybe one day they will be able to find John Connor, I think. Okay, I'm talking very fast. I think everybody's confused. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
going to go on the next one. Da da da. Visual and then AI influence. Visual. Let me find. Okay, so this is the next one. So this one is actually for you to use vision encoder to actually teach a language model. So this one allows you to teach, so that will understand image, which also again very useful because uh, the so they look at image that will understand what it is about. So let me try the duck again. Can I get the duck again? Yep, here you are.
Is it a duck or rabbit?
Yeah, yeah.
What if you put in the duck rabbit?
What? Uh, okay, let me try this. Is this a duck or a rabbit? Submit. Okay, it's generating. It's generating. The image
It's
feature
not
a
a duck.
rabbit sitting on the ground. It is
It's a
not a duck.
rabbit.
Okay. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it's a rabbit.
Yeah. What?
I'm right.
Download. This is horrible. Okay, let me try another one. Uh, I'm going to find. Okay, this one. Okay, cool. What does he feel? There's no pool of water, but they don't have the context either way. Interesting. Uh, let me find. Let me find other
Well, where
stuff.
is the pool of water? Is gonna uncrop it for us.
Yeah. Okay, this is the one that I'm going to do. Okay. Tell me what is happening. What is happening? No, there is not. There is only one. Okay,
What if it's
the
what if
same
it's
from AI for now.
uncropping for you?
No, I know because there's no other bird there. I took the photo myself. Okay. Is the bird trying to fly? What? They are so confused. Oh well. So either way, people are building stuff on top of language model. All right, which is why things are really interesting nowadays. Uh, Maybe intelligence, I do not know yet. I do not know yet, but I'm going. This is the last thing I'm going to show because I'm going to show something that I do for work later. AI community. No, 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 no. AI agent community paper. No, 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 no. It's called AI agent in simulated community. Yeah, this one. This is a very recent paper. Here you are. So I try to find. Okay, no. R R R R R R R R. Let me find the paper. This is actually I have it on Facebook. Okay, I'm going on Facebook because it's safe for work, not this one. My community is safe for work. What? Okay, here you are. Cat, office cat, not important. Here you are. So this paper actually shows that you can. So other than building system to understand images, building reasoning on a robot, just on pure GPT itself, you can already build a very complex agent in the community. In a way, it's very similar to. Uh, have you watched? Okay, I don't think you watched Sword Art Online. So the
Nope.
latest Sword Art Online, they actually built AI agent. So they actually build an agent in a game environment so that they build human intelligence. So either way, they use this to actually a GPT pair system to simulate an agent to build a community. So they have their own life and all that. So it's essentially what NPC does before you mess things up. So yeah, things are getting really interesting actually. Let's see what else do I have. Da-da-da, Python, LLM. So we have some algorithm stuff, but I'm going to stop for now. I'm going to show you something cool-ish, I hope.
Oh,
Right,
super hands.
yeah, yep. It's my work. I'm kind of proud of it. It's not a notebook. It's dirty hack. It's a very dirty hack. Yes, I will get beaten. I don't care. Uh, da-da-da. So I'm using my Pokemon as a test system. Da-da-da, da-da, da-da, don't care. This is actually private repository, so it's fine that which is why I'm scrolling very fast so that you don't see the URL and the data I submit. But essentially what I'm building is actually, so Facebook had a segment anything model, I talked about it multiple times. So the idea here is that we're going to build
What
a
is that you're trying
system.
to segment?
We try to, so the thing is, we're having the system to try to detect, try to build initial segments of things. So in this case, this thing is a bit complex in a way that they detect texture from shadows and all that. Notice that they try to avoid the leg and all that, right? So the idea here is that having a system that will uh, try to segment something. So in this case, what I should really do is I try to move the square here, and you should generate the segment for the eye, because segment anything model would able to segment something that's more clear in shape. With this, we can use this to to help data annotation, because so what we are what we're doing is that I'm actually in the data annotation business with workers and all that, and we're building tools to help this, which is why I'm very crazy over AI recently, because I have to work on this actually. I'm good. You know what? Let me take a screenshot for this because I need to prove to my boss. I need to prove to my boss that I actually use this to promote our company. We're hiring, by the way. I need a senior software engineer. So yeah, long story, but so yeah, this is what I've been doing with AI system recently. AI system. These are automatic segmentation system, and it's actually very cool, cooler than you think, because let's go to github.com Facebook AI. Here you are. There is notebook, but here's the cool part. This is the pure browser implementation, meaning you can run this on browser mostly. There's caveat. The caveat is you need to generate the embedding. So you need to generate the embedding before you can do this. So for example, here you see, right, you need to run this on a notebook and generate and save it. Then you can use Onyx or NNX and run it on a browser. So you can potentially have a uh, pure browser only segmentation system. And here's what I think in the future, my sci-fi hat here. All these are very useful because once you're able to segment something out, then you can manipulate it. You can use stable diffusion to manipulate something. Then you can potentially build a AR game system for real by replacing by segmenting something and overlay something with stable diffusion like system, and having a large language model to generate text, to help in generate text-based content to be out spoken by the NPC, for example. And this is just only game, right? Or you want to build an assistive system, right? Assistive system. So you can segment out a bus and tell them that this bus goes where, extra information. So I think all these systems, segmenting system, visual generation system, and all that, all these are actually very useful for AR. Okay, and the reason is this: an AR system require you to manipulate information in front of you, so you need segmentation to find it. You need generative AI to replace images, and you need large language model to generate content before to make this very useful. So I think next few years AI will be a thing. I think this is why Apple will release a product soon, because all these things are ready to go. And I'm hoping to see maybe third party will actually do it, because we need more company to do this kind of thing and not stuck by one company to do this. But this is far future. This is the 5 year in the future thing. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So with that said, we have 4 more minutes. Anything you want to talk about?
Not really. What
Yeah,
this is
okay, show you.
I would say is that this is the
Oh
real
yeah,
industrial revolution,
correct.
not
I'm going
the
to show you another
not the
one.
much
Yeah, yeah,
hype 4.0 that didn't see much lights.
yep.
And this is
So this
really
is a
changed a lot of things.
correct,
And why I consider that is a line that if you don't cross it, we're gonna be left behind.
correct. So I'm trying to find the demo for this. So one of this is okay. So Facebook released segment anything. This is one model, but this is actually part of this model. Remember, no, remember when I say about segmenting stuff?
Mm.
So once you can do this, you can do a lot of stuff for real, right? Because you know how to find things. Uh,
It's
here's
not just only for
okay,
finding things as well. It's including for compression, everything.
correct.
That
So
then
it's
it.
just limited.
Mm.
It's limited by your imagination. That's the
Mm.
point.
Yep.
So yeah, so this one they only show like segmentation, but you can do a lot more stuff. They can do image retrieval. One of the things they do here is, do they have that? They can do depth estimation. So you do not need. You probably
We can
don't need lidar, but you can estimate something in front of you and warn you and all that. You can
mm,
have more context with that.
behavioral taking these kind of things lah.
Yeah. So this is awesome. This is crazy awesome. Uh, so okay, wait. This is actually a transformer model. What this does is, this extract features from image. Okay. So this is what they mean. Features as in take part of the images and all that. So this is not a recognition model. This is actually a way to extract features to be used for for training your system, because with this then you can do this.
Mm.
I should share all these things because this is actually part of our research. I probably shared this last week already. So for example, they have the context of left lion, right lion, replace a lion, replace something like a cup and all that. So you can do more of this in the future. Even though in practice you're going to do, they can't recognize everything. So for example, they probably won't recognize this as a coin box, but it probably will recognize this when you say something red, like a can, right? Like a can. So they probably can recognize things like that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future, right? So even though I like to say that I want to make friends with AI, but this is the more interesting stuff, right? So yeah, I try to have fun along the way. So okay, and with that said, thanks for listening to my rambling. I will try to share more links. Next week, let's see what we can do. Then I will go Korea for next week,
When are you going to Korea, South Korea?
30th April. So next week I'm still around.
Okay.
So and for the next 4 days, have fun, take a rest, do a hobby, whatever you want. I don't care. Uh,
Mm.
there is only more interesting stuff happening in the future. So do whatever you want. So with that said, thanks for listening. We should leave now. So bye, people.
All right. Good night. See you
Web and
guys next week.
broadcast.
Stay
Yep.
safe.